bad direction, broke their agreements, and so forth.
Well, as I indicated, one of the ways that North Korea has previously negotiated with the world was to gin up what they've tried to create into a crisis atmosphere in an effort to get more concessions from the world. Thank you.
This is a live picture outside the State Department. Mohammed El-demerdash, Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency, and Secretary of State Colin Powell are meeting here. They're expected to speak with reporters following that meeting. We'll have live coverage here on C-SPAN. In the meantime, earlier today on Capitol Hill, incoming Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Dick Lugar met with the Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. After the meeting, they spoke with reporters about the status of the agency's weapons inspections in Iraq and concerns about North Korea's nuclear program. Their comments are about 10 minutes.
We've been very pleased to have a distinguished guest in our office this morning. And I invite your questions to Mr. Al-Haredi on topics that are timely and on which he can be most informative.
What was your reaction to North Korea dropping out of the agreement?
Well, I think, as I discussed with Senator Lugar, and we had a very good and constructive discussion today on North Korea and Iraq, as I indicated to him, that to me this is again a continuation of a policy of defiance. That withdrawal from the NPT, which is a cornerstone of the arms control regime, is a very dangerous precedent. It could contribute to instability in the Korean Peninsula, and there is an urgent need for North Korea to reverse that decision. Again, I still believe that North Korea should understand that defiance will not achieve its stated objectives, which is security and economic assistance, but only through compliance, only through acting as a law-abiding member of the international community can they engage the international community into dialogue. The international community, and I hear it from every concerned party, is ready to engage North Korea into dialogue, but North Korea has to take the first step. Once that first step is taken, I think there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. There's readiness to discuss their security concerns. There's readiness to provide them economic assistance. But they have first to show that they are willing to sit, negotiate without that threat of nuclear brinkmanship.
Director O'Barrett, a question about Iraq, please. How does the Bush administration's threat of war help or hamper the work of the inspectors?
Well, I think the international community has clearly demonstrated that it is fed up with a process which has been going on for 12 years, trying to disarm Iraq from its weapons of mass destruction. So applying pressure through the Security Council, through the new resolution 1441, I think was very helpful to send a powerful message to Iraq that now is the time, this is the last opportunity for you to come into compliance. Otherwise, as a Security Council resolution says, there will be serious consequences. So continued attention by and pressure by the international community, I think, is very helpful for us to be able to succeed in achieving our mission.
Sir, how much more intelligence do you need than you are getting from American authorities?
I think we're getting intelligence, but as I have been saying in the last few days, we need more actionable information. We need specific information on where to go and where to inspect. But we have a good process of dialogue with the U.S. and with other intelligence agencies. And I hope in the next few weeks that this process will intensify and that we'll get additional information that can accelerate our job in the field.
Could you tell us about your visit to Iran in February? What exactly are you planning to accomplish, and which nuclear reactor centers would you planning to visit?
Well, I'm supposed to go to Iran on the 25th of February. I'm scheduled to meet with President Khatami, and I'm supposed to visit the facilities that are being constructed there. I've discussed with them 2 facilities which we have known to that are being built right now in Iran. They indicated to me that they are ready to show maximum transparency, that they will take us to these 2 facilities and others. So I hope when I go there that we'll be able to visit all nuclear-related facilities. I also would like to impress on them the importance of maximum transparency, the importance of joining what we call our additional protocol, which gives us additional authority to visit sites and receive more information. So the key goal is to satisfy the international community concern that Iran nuclear program is exclusively for peaceful purposes.
So you think by January 27th that you'll have enough information in that report that the Security Council will be able to make a decision on military action?
No. And I think we made that clear yesterday at the Security Council, Hans Blix and I, that 27th of January report is a status update report, is a status report. That's not the end of our work. We have been saying to the Security Council that we need still much more time before we come to a conclusion. But as long as we are making progress, as long as we are getting information from member states, as long as we are getting cooperation from Iraq, and this is a point I'd like to underline, that we still need not only cooperation from Iraq with regard to process, but also with regard to substance. I'd like to see more cooperation in interviewing Iraqi scientists in private. I'd like to see Iraq not talking about the inspection being spies. We'd like to see more forthcoming Iraqi attitude, which would help us to achieve our goal. But the 27 is a progress report, and this is just one milestone in a long process.
Senator, get your assessment of the danger of the situation in North Korea now, and is this a form of nuclear blackmail we're seeing here? What does this amount to, in your opinion?
Well, I would simply reiterate what our Mr. Al-Aredi has pointed out, that essentially diplomatically the United States needs with its allies to visit with the North Koreans. Secretary Powell has indicated we're prepared to do that. And I buy the point that there has to be some light at the end of the tunnel for the North Koreans to see really what is out there as they declare that they're out of the nuclear game, which has to happen. But I think our negotiators were prepared to do that when he went over to North Korea. That conversation was truncated by the North Koreans' admission they were into a highly enriched uranium program, so we never got to the rest of the agenda. At some point, we need to do that in a multilateral way. And the conference this week with the South Koreans and the Japanese has been extremely helpful, and undoubtedly China and Russia can play roles. And in a multilateral way, it seems to me that communication will proceed. So I see a constructive program going on, even as provocative comments are made by the North Koreans.
Are you satisfied with the intelligence sharing with the United States on Iraq? And also, are you going to take the matter of North Korea to the Security Council?
As I mentioned, we are satisfied with the intelligence we are getting from the U.S., but we'd like to get more from the U.S. and from others. On North Korea, I fully share Senator Lugar's assessment that we need to diffuse the crisis. I don't think it is helpful at this stage to think of escalation. I think both North Korea and the U.S. are in agreement that what is needed is a political solution. North Korea has to take the first step into coming with compliance, but as Senator Lugar again mentioned, that we need to articulate what would be the next step. If North Korea were to show good behavior, they need to get some assurance as what to expect in return for good behavior. And I think that's very important in articulation of what to expect in case of compliance. And we need also to make sure that there is a lot of diplomatic activities at different levels to diffuse the situation and get the process back where it used to be.
We're leaving this taped event from earlier today for live coverage of comments by Mohammed El-Baradei. He's joined by Secretary of State Colin Powell.
Dr. Baradei and I just had a good conversation over a number of key issues that are before the world today. We've talked about the situation with respect to Iraq, with respect to North Korea, and also some of the nuclear activities that are taking place within Iran. With respect to Iraq, we reviewed the report that he gave to the Security Council yesterday, and he briefed me on his forthcoming trip with Dr. Blix to Iraq to present to the Iraqis their need for additional cooperation, better cooperation, the kind of cooperation we've seen so far, and to fill in the gaps that have been noted in the information they have been providing. And I look forward to the Director General's presentation to the Security Council on the 27th of January. That'll be a very important presentation, their first official presentation.